June the 24th, and it is Sunday.
And it is hot.
It's hot. Definitely hot here in southern Alabama. It's a heat advisory day, so we're in triple digits heat index, but we're doing all right. So we're going to jump right back into the tennis news. Again, pardon my glasses. It's the best I could do given my other ones broke. So we're going to jump right back into what we've been doing, which is the tennis updates for men's and women's rolling into Wimbledon, this grass court and the very short grass court season. So because of only a couple of matches today, there was a couple of finals. We'll try to do men's and women's in the same show, and hopefully we can do that because our 5 kids have to train, and we have to do that in the afternoon instead of in the morning, and the show vice versa because it's so hot. The shade comes into the court in the afternoon. So we're going to do our best to get through this in one show. So we're going to jump right back in. First of all, our viewers are the most important things no matter what. And we had the opportunity to have a really nice discussion with the viewer today. And I'm going to bring up his name, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Vivek, V-I-V-E-K, and last name Katraman. And I hopefully I have that correct as well. But I was delighted to read such a good comment, and I'm going to try to read this comment for you. And this was his comment. After watching all your match predictions, my view for this Wimbledon is the only player who can really beat Federer is the baby Federer, Grigor Dimitrov. Although he has played super bad in Queens and in more. I just believe he is the only one who has got the game to do it on grass against Federer. I can't see Djokovic challenging him in 2018. That's just my view. I might be eating my words in the first week of the tournament. I just thought I would add my view. But great show run by a very good couple. To Vivek, absolutely beautifully said. Thank you for the comment. I agree with you. Dimitrov was a future #1 player in the world in my own mind many years ago, and you made another comment later as we were discussing about a confidence issue, and you hit it right on the head. I think after so many years of meeting the big guys, the Djokovic's and the Federers and the Nadals, and consistently losing, and to some even lower on the totem pole players, it seems like it has just accumulated so much on his shoulders where he doesn't really have anything more to give these players, and therefore I think his confidence has dropped.
I mean, I love his comment. I would love to see Dimitrov win Wimbledon. I mean, he is more than capable of beating Nadal, Federer. He's capable of beating. I mean, he lost to Chilik today, but he's capable of beating any player. You know. Yeah. I'm sorry, I messed that up, but he didn't play Chilik.
No,
but
Djokovic.
I'm thinking of Djokovic.
Djokovic lost.
But Dimitrov is capable of beating anybody. He has the game. I mean, he can volley. You know, he's got a beautiful one-handed backhand, and the grass is the best surface for him, in my opinion. I mean, I hope he's right, and I would love to see him win, and I would love to pick him. But I think because of his confidence, I can't.
Yeah, I really agree and hope for Dimitrov to do well. For me, it's tough to see Dimitrov finally getting the kind of boxer mentality where he's going to fight through you no matter what. I see him kind of getting to the cusp of the finish line and just not being able to close. And unfortunately, I haven't seen the ability to close come around for him. But I love your comment. I couldn't have said it any better, and you said it best. So thank you for the comment. I look forward to many more. So we're going to jump right back into the scores and the updates from today. I'm going to check the camera real quick and make sure she's still going. All right, so we're okay. So I personally dislike giving a specific tennis player more coverage than he or she deserves. But because of the antic that I saw from Nick Kyrgios today, I'm going to put that as the on top of the list today, and I should shoot myself in the foot for doing so because I disagree with his media coverage.
I told you this a few days ago. Why are we talking about Kyrgios? I mean, he's not good for the sport of tennis. He's got lots of viewers, young kids looking up to him. I mean, he has no sportsmanship. He disrespects the other players. He doesn't care what the media thinks. I mean, and then what I saw today in that video, just absolutely disgusting, Justin.
Let me put it this way. It doesn't matter what is going through your head, Nick. If you were my son, I would snatch you up, and I promise you, even at 22 or whatever, how old, I think he's 22.
He's in his 20s, yes.
I would destroy you. I don't know where Daddy is, but you disrespected your mother, number one. You're gonna use a profane gesture with a water bottle, much less drink the water afterwards. Bro, bad look for you. I know you got fined 15 grand, but I'm personally, as a father of 5 kids, calling you out personally. One-on-one, bro. Look, you gotta get out of this, bro. You are disrespecting yourself. You are disrespecting a age-old traditional game. 15 grand, fine, euros, nothing. I would have kicked you off tour if it was my call, and I wouldn't let you play Wimbledon if I was the tournament director.
I totally agree with you, Justin. I mean, there should have been more than a fine. I mean, he is playing on grass, which is supposed to be traditional, right? It's one of the tournaments that they keep true to. I mean, every other tournament, fans are loud, and you can do whatever you want, dress however you want. But this tournament is a classic tournament. Even though this is a warm-up tournament, it's disrespectful to the player on the other side of the court, to the fans, to the ball girl that was right next to him. For him to do that, I mean...
Hey, Nick, let me go ahead and tell you what. If my daughter was the ball girl, and you're sitting there doing what you did with the water bottle in front of my daughter, I would have jumped on the court and handled it myself and been happy to talk to the judge. And I've talked to the judge before. All right? I'm just telling you. Grow up, dude. Grow up. Whack. Bad look. Cowardly maneuver. Grotesque. Awful. Disrespectful. And weak. We're going to move on because you've already had enough time. Grow up, man. I'm calling you out personally. Comment below. Whatever. I'm right here. Grow up, man, because obviously Daddy's not around to whip your ass. Someone got to do it. All right, anyway, Berdych is out of Wimbledon. Big deal.
It is a big deal because last year Berdych made it pretty far into the Wimbledon, and he's made semis, finals, and it's just saying that basically he's getting older. I mean, I feel for him. He should have won a Grand Slam when he had his chance against Nadal.
Yeah.
I feel for him.
Agreed too. Berdych is a classic player, been around a long time, hard worker. I hope you're all right, Berdych. We've talked about this in previous videos leading up to now, that Berdych looks to be at the end of his career. I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last year.
I wouldn't either. He supposedly went out with a back injury, which is tough in tennis. I mean, for a tall guy. Hopefully we'll see him back at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, so a lot of good tennis news today. Sorry again for the disrespectful news that we had to relay to you in the previous subject. It's really unnecessary to even have that, but unfortunately it's what's being fed to the masses, and it's really not cool. It throws my whole equilibrium off. But I guess, hey, if that's how we're selling tickets, then maybe count my ticket out. I don't know. All right, so today, 2 finals. We had Kyrgios, the young Kyrgios, who we've spoken about at length over the past couple of weeks, or a week and a half or so. I like Kyrgios as the next superstar, as she likes the Shapovalov kid. I think Kyrgios beat a vulnerable Federer today, so I'm not super excited about it because Federer could have lost to Misha Zverev. He could have lost to Benoit Pierre, faced 2 match points. So I'm really not surprised he lost to a hot Kyrgios today. Do I think it changes Federer's chances against Kyrgios if they met in Wimbledon? No, I think Federer beats him in Wimbledon.
It's a different story to play a 2 out of 3 set to 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5,
Kyrgios
yeah.
is young, so if they were to, if you put them at Wimbledon, I would say Federer would beat him. And I mean, do we really think Federer cares about losing a smaller tournament?
No, I think Roger would say great win, good match,
Right.
and I hope I play better next time I play you.
This is a warm-up tournament for him. I mean, he's playing it just to get, the feel for it. I don't think it's a big deal he lost today.
Don't either.
But good for Coric. First Masters.
Yeah, good job, Coric. I've been pulling for you for a while. I know John McEnroe has. I've heard John McEnroe at length talk about Coric. That's kind of a year or two ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago, U.S. Open or some junior stuff. I think it was U.S. Open, though, his first run 2 years ago. I heard McEnroe talking about him, so much props to McEnroe on that, because if it wasn't for Johnny Mac, I wouldn't have seen or even looked up Coric in the first place. So I've watched Coric for about a year and a half or two. He reminds me of Agassi, but with more. So I think Coric has a good chance for success.
He does. I mean, if you ask me right now, Shapovalov, Coric, I love Shapovalov, but Coric is a bit more advanced than him, and it seems like he adapts better to the grass court than Severbev and Thiem. So that's a good thing for him, because usually people that can play on grass can play on hard court as well.
Yeah, and don't forget about Khachanov. I know Khachanov lost, I think, second or third round here at this tournament. But watch out for Khachanov, too. Moving forward, so we can try to get men's and women's into one show. Cilic beat Djokovic today. To me, not a big surprise. It was super tight. Could have gone either way. Believe me, for me, Djokovic is still shedding his last sheath of rust, and I still see Djokovic. Now, again, I've been teetering back and forth with Kyrgios winning Wimbledon, even though I just really hate what he does on the court. And Djokovic, and I pulled him in and out systematically. I have to put Djokovic back as the winner still, even though he lost today, because of the antics that Kyrgios pulled. I mean, it can't be good mentally for someone trying to win a major. 7 matches, 3 out of 5 sets. If you're doing such antics, there's no way he can win. Not doing that, so I'm going to remove Kyrgios from my winner after today's Clown Fest for like the 4th day in a row, and I'm going to put Djokovic still winning Wimbledon.
I'm surprised that you would even think that Kyrgios would even make it to the second week. I think with this, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost in the first few rounds. And as for Djokovic, this is a good thing for his career. I mean, he lost at the French Open to a qualifier. This is a step up. I mean, he's getting ready to be back to the old Djokovic. So
Yeah.
even though he lost today, Cilic should have beat him, because Cilic's been on tour for a while. He hasn't been injured. He didn't stop playing for a year. So I think it's a great thing for Djokovic.
Agreed. Good job, Djokovic, today. Given the loss, still great job. I think you look pretty good. Maybe we can get our footwork a little bit more off and popping, because you're slipping a lot. I know everybody's been slipping on this grass, some big injuries. But there's still a level of footwork that I think can assist with this not happening so often. Next week's tournaments, not much in terms of the men's. They're smaller, 250s. There's a big women's tournament, but I'm going to watch Monfils next week. I'm going to watch Shapovalov next week and see how they fare in this tournament the week before Wimbledon. I like both players. I do. I just don't see either one of them really going that deep, but I would like to see them go deep.
I'm definitely going to watch Shapovalov, because basically that's going to be depending how he does, is whether he'll go into my fantasy group bracket. If he doesn't do too well, then I might have to look at someone else.
Yeah.
And Monfils is always exciting to watch his matches. They're fun. He can surprise you. He can go in the second week.
Possible. All right, so last thing on the men's agenda for today, a feel-good story, and we hope this kid does really well. But there's a deaf player. He's from South Korea, and his last name, or however it is stated in his respective country, which is South Korea, Lee, Lee, Duck, Duck-Hee. Deaf player from South Korea, where Chung is from, who's a solid young player. I wish the best for this young man. I hope you qualify. I hope that some way this video can get to you, whether it's translated or however it works. But great job, man. Great job. I only hope that you do very, very well.
I think it was awesome to read this story. I mean, here's this young man who's deaf, and I mean, it has to be tough to try to qualify for a main draw being deaf. I mean, that's a milestone, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely spectacular. The good news is, though, for the deaf kid, that if you ever play Kyrgios, you don't have to hear him. You can just have to put up with watching him. So I don't mean that in any disrespectful way.
You're still giving him too much.
Yeah, I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. We hope you do well, but that's how I feel about Kyrgios. If I could turn my hearing off to play that guy, I think I would choose to hit the off switch. And maybe that came out wrong, but at the same point in time, good luck to the young man, the South Korean kid. I really hope you do well, and I hope that you make a deep run at Wimbledon.
I do too.
I hope you qualify, and I hope you make a deep run.
I will actually be keeping up with that story.
All right, we're going to move right into the women's. Not too much drama going on today. Again, the tournaments were relatively small this week for the women. That led up to 2 finals today. We have their Eastbourne tournament next week, which is a very large tournament. So there should be a lot more women's news coming up this week. Again, with Wimbledon just over a week away, we're going to try to do more keeping up with who's hot and who's not next week, and try to build a hypothetical fantasy team on the men's and women's side with 5 players ranked between 1 and 16, 2 players ranked 17 through 32, and 1 unseeded player, or as many unseeded players as you want, but that's your maximum for each category, and we'll talk about that next week leading into Wimbledon. So that was just a reminder. If you want to see our previous discussions about how we're going to do such large brackets, such large draws without taking multiple hours, then check those out. But I think right now we have the consensus that we're going to formulate 2 fantasy teams, and we're allowed to have up to 5 players ranked 1 through 16. We're allowed to have up to 2 players ranked 17 through 32, and we're allowed to have 1 unseeded player. However, if you want to have 8 unseeded players, that's fine. But the goal is to get those players as far as you can, predict the winners, or predict the finalists and the winners.
Correct.
Which we do on a website, GrandSlamFantasyTennis.com. It's a really fun site. Our group there is ATP and WTA for players. A lot of good folks there that really have a good time, that has no association with what we do. But we have done that for so very long, and we decided, because the draws are so big and we've been breaking down every match, that when we get to Wimbledon or this week's women's tournament with 64 players plus the men on their side, it gets long-winded. So we're trying to make it more hot on the spot, right?
Right.
All right, so Maria, the German girl, the 30-year-old, has her first title today. Defeated Sevitsova in straight sets, 6-4, 7-5. Close, but I still have neither going to Wimbledon. Deep.
I don't, but I think that's great for a 30-year-old veteran who's been on the tour for a while to win her first WTA tournament. Good for her.
Great job. That was at the Mallorca Open, and it seemed to have been a really well-done tournament. The courts looked great. The coverage I saw none of, but I was lucky enough to go to their site and really spent some time getting familiar with the tournament. Great job, Mallorca Open, from the start to finish, from the player party to the banquet and to the ceremony at the end. I thought it was really well done. First time I followed the tournament, but liked the effort a lot.
Hopefully next year they'll get some coverage.
Exactly. So we had Kvitova in the other final, which is at the Nature Valley in Birmingham.
Yes. Took
out Rybarkarova in 3 sets, 4-6, and then Cruz lost the first set, 4-6. Cruz 6-1, and then 6-2 in the second and third sets. I have Kvitova again still being my winner at Wimbledon unless something else changes next week in Eastbourne. But no surprises happen here. I think she won it for her 5th time.
It's her fifth time she's won this tournament. I mean, good for her. This is what she needed to go into Wimbledon. I'm really looking at her to win this Wimbledon. I mean, all depending where Serena is. If they're on the opposite side of the drawers, then she will go to the final.
Yeah. Kvitova looked really good, and good job, Kvitova, climbing the hump after so much going on with the injury, and I won't get into that. That's personal, and you've had enough of probably dwelling on that. Great job, Petra. I mean, salute you. Great. I hope to see you holding a Wimbledon trophy. A lot of love for you, a lot of respect. I wish our daughters could have half the future or half the career or half the tennis ability that you have.
She does. She's a powerful player. I mean, she's gutsy. She goes for everything. She leaves nothing behind when she goes on the court. I mean, she puts all her heart and hard work into it.
Yeah, so I've done 2 standing ovations on the show. 1 to Darren Cahill. I've already done that. Good job, Cahill. But 2 to Petra Kvitova. Standing O, Petra. Really, you deserve that. Great win. Happy for you. All right, so that's the women's. Just some finishing thoughts, and we're going to let everyone have a great Sunday. By the way, click a like below, subscribe below. We love doing the tennis reports. We do weather too and some kids videos, stringing videos, but we really love doing the tennis show. So a couple parting thoughts. Huge women's tournament next week leading up into Wimbledon. We'll do our best to cover that in our own way. We may change the format up a little bit, but big tournament. I'm really excited about it, right?
I am too, because we're going to see some of the top players, before the week before Wimbledon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right there we should get an idea of who is going to go into our brackets. A lot of the top players that we haven't seen the past few weeks.
Yeah. So also there's 2 men's tournaments, smaller on the totem pole. There's a tournament in Turkey. We discussed the players in that, I think, yesterday. There's also a men's tournament in Eastbourne, but not near the field as you have on the women's side. So we're going to update that, and we're still going to talk more final 8 winners, dark horses for Wimbledon.
We'll probably see with the women and men. We'll see the coverage on both of them since it's the same tournament, right?
Yeah, I would think we should see more women's coverage next week. Again, we've been talking about the lack of women's coverage at all. And hopefully with the big tournament and men playing at the same place, hopefully we can get some good looks at the women next week. Final parting thought on Kyrgios, man. Look, I mean, I don't mean to hate on the guy, but I don't know where Dad is, or I don't know what's going down. But at this point, you are a disgrace to yourself.
You can't put this on Dad, though. Whoever's his agent, they need to speak to him. Whoever's the coach, they need to speak to him. They're the ones that are with him. It's no longer the parents' fault. He's not a kid anymore. He's a grown man.
You remind me of Johnny Manziel, dude. You remind me of a young Bernard Tomic. I think he's getting out of that. You remind me of Marcelo Rios. There's nothing new about this, man. There's nothing new about this. You think the whole bad boy looking stupid image is new?
He could be a bad boy. I mean, you know who was a bad boy? Safin. He was a bad boy, but he backed it up with a slam.
Yeah, but Safin didn't do some grotesque gesture with his water bottle.
No, he never did
and then
that.
stick it in his mouth.
He was a bad boy on the court.
Anyway, I kind of like Safin.
Me too.
I wouldn't even characterize Safin in the same lingo.
But I mean, if he's looking up to be the bad boy, play the bad boy role, that's someone he should look at.
All I'm going to say, man, is if you want to end up like a Manziel story, great. You got the potential to be top in the world, but you're squandering it. You're squandering it. You're blowing it away in the wind like nothing. And it's to the point where it's disgusting. So, hey, man, good luck to you. I really hope you do well, but this is the last time I put you at the cusp of my show, and maybe you don't care and you'll never see this. It doesn't matter anyway, but that's how I feel. So at the end of the day, would you agree with that?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to jump off that train at least until I feel that I can have my daughters watch his tennis matches. Anyway, click a like below, subscribe below, all in good fun, but I do mean those comments in all sincerity. So thanks so much. Have a great day, great rest of your weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow, kind of going over highlights, who's hot, who's not, and tweak around the schedule a little bit so we can prepare to get really deep into Wimbledon. All right, game, set, match, shake hands with the net, right?
Yes.
Good job. Can I get a kiss with that? Mwah. Always a winner. So as always, Carla's going to say,
Adios.
adios. Take care.